All right, welcome to a new mini series on this channel. So it's going to be called More Minutes. I'm looking at every one of the top Champion Europe leagues, right? And we're going to look at players that are going to be moving, or we think is moving this summer for more minutes. It's a great little entry point into Sorare if you can pick up someone that's coming off the bench now, whereas next season in a couple of months they're going to be playing every week. And I've got first up the French league and my French league expert Jeremy. So you want to introduce yourself, mate?
Thanks for having me, Alex. Yeah, I guess I like French football a lot. I watch a lot of French football. I got a French football podcast called Castle Ligne on the Breaking the Lines media, and I've been playing Sorare for just over 2 years now. So I'm invested in the game, and I'm always it's the time of the year, right, where we're always looking at do you build your Asian or your American team, or do you actually start looking at next year? So I'm doing a bit of both these days, and so your more minutes series is right on the money with what I'm doing right now.
Perfect. And if you didn't know, Jeremy, like myself, big PSG fan. So
You got the Marseille flag just behind. We're clashing there. We're
yeah,
clashing.
he's already had a go at me for wearing rival colours, but we're going to have to get straight into it. What we're going to be looking at is rather than making it a boring 1-1-1-1-1 or, where are you going? I want you to name all of where you think your players are going to land, what destination club or league. You don't have to be too specific. I'll do the same, and then we'll just go through one by one on which one we want to reveal first, kind of thing. So, tell the viewers where your players are going.
Sure. My first player will most likely going to Aston Villa. A second player will land a job somewhere in one of the top European league. The next one will likely go to La Liga. Then I get one who's heavily linked with Roma, and my last player will get more minutes, be it at the club that he is or in the Bundesliga next year.
Perfect. Okay, so mine, I'm going to need to pull up now, are I've actually gone for a very specific start with Borussia Mönchengladbach. Then I've got Roma, which I feel like is suspect. We might have the same player. I've gone for a Premier League team, not gone top Premier League team. I'm just going to say Premier League, where the money is, obviously. I've gone Feyenoord as like a possible outcome. It's one of my less likely suggestions. And then a top French team. So essentially a move up in the league to a more dominant team. So, Jeremy, I like the idea of you revealing who's going to La Liga because that's quite an interesting move. So who's going there?
Well, I think La Liga will be Carlos Soler, the PSG midfielder. He's basically been told that he's just extra weight on the wage bill there at PSG, and that he would be gone. I did read news just yesterday that Juventus was maybe interested, but I mean, Carlos Soler was amazing at Valencia, and Soler player would know that because he was probably one of the most expensive cards at the time, and he is likely going to go back to where he performed the best. Plus, of course, the sporting director at Paris Saint-Germain. He is also the sporting director at Celta Vigo. So there's an easy way out there for him in case he needs to go back to La Liga. I think PSG definitely don't want to keep him. And although he's getting some minutes recently, he's not one that is always going to be a starter or always was a starter this season. And when you see this score this season versus what he had last year, I mean, he's a guy who was getting like a decisive every 2 games, sorry, and now it's only every 3 games. So obviously it's dropped a little bit. So I think Carlos Soler is probably on his way back to La Liga to get more minutes, but also more meaningful minutes as far as results and scores.
Okay, that Celta Vigo bit of knowledge was fantastic. Like, I have no idea about that. Obviously, in this series, I'm coming in as a guest a lot of the time. Like, I have knowledge of these, but nowhere near as much as Jeremy knowledge. And you'll be able to tell that from when I'm reading out my answers. But yeah, that's a great one. Soler, some player in the Liga, like hasn't cut it, frankly, at PSG. So yeah, I would actually agree with that. Annoyed I missed that one. Who do you want to see from mine?
I'd like to know who you have going to Feyenoord. It's a bit out of left field. We're going to the Netherlands there. I like that.
No, the move down was um, you get bonus points if you pick someone that moves down. I didn't tell you that, but it's not like a scoring system anyway. But what I'm actually looking at is the least likely outcome of my moves. But I've gone for Myron Badadu. I'm sure you can pronounce it better than me, but
Go ahead, do.
yeah, yeah. So essentially, he's not been getting many minutes recently, and I thought this is a top talent who's 22. When you're a bit younger, you're a bit more dominant. Like, if I'm not getting minutes now, I'm just going to leave. The downside to that is his contract ends. Oh no, sorry. The upside to that is his contract ends in 2023. So I'm like, okay, this could be a perfect time for him to exit. And then I was like, if he's not cutting it in the French league, where will he cut it? He's obviously Dutch. I thought a return to his, home nation, and then I thought, okay, so he's moved from AZ. He probably doesn't want to take a step backwards, so he's going to have to progress up to like an Ajax or a Feyenoord. And then I was like, well, Ajax are pretty strong attackers, and that's where I've landed. I think it's quite good. Limited cost of £5. Someone I might take a punt on, and maybe you do at home. So yeah, that's my
That's a
thoughts.
very good call because he was really good in the Netherlands. That's what got him the move to Monaco. And yeah, like you said, he's been struggling. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's out of left field, but I like that call, Alex. Well done.
Thank you. All right. Next up, the weird one, right? Who is going to Aston Villa?
Matteo Guendouzi, the midfielder from Marseille, who was at the World Cup with the French national team and who was basically Jorge Sampaoli's darling last year at Marseille, and that's when he exploded on the scene. And this year, the beginning of the season under Igor Tudor, he had his minutes, and if you see, his scores were between 50 and 80 consistently. And then slowly but surely, he's lost a bit of minutes, and apparently he's annoying in the locker room. So they basically told him politely that he could go if he wants to go. Last year, he was heavily linked with Aston Villa, and Marseille apparently refused something along the lines of 35 to 40 millions for him. This year, he's going to be available for half the price, and I think Villa have already said that we're interested. If you want to say it, as far as we're concerned, right now, his limited is worth €6, so the same, I guess, in pounds. And he's probably one of the players to really try and snatch before he does the move, because when he's going to do the move, he's going to get minutes, and he's a bit of a crazy dog. So I think he'll get the right points as well for the first half of the season. Then who knows where that go with his mentality. But yeah, Matteo Guendouzi is apparently destined to join Villa in the summer season.
That makes so much sense. I love the half price. There's not much more to say to it then. I'm probably going to pick up a Guendouzi at some point, probably in rare, but yeah, we'll have to see. Anyone you want to hear on my list?
Well, let's stay on the in the EPL. Who did you have going to the EPL?
Okay. So I think you'll have him. It's Hugo Ekitike from PSG, obviously. So what's happening with him is he's clearly fallen out of the club. If you've seen on Instagram, he made his profile like sub 44. So he's obviously kicking off about being a sub. He's not happy at the club. And the biggest surprise for me, he's obviously just got there, but his contract ends in 2023 in this summer. I was like, I did not know that at all. So he went from being like a possible to a likely, maybe very likely. In terms of who's going to get him, an up and coming top talent, forward, high in demand. Premier League's where the money is. Of course, one of the top champion Europe clubs could come for him, but these days we saw it in the last transfer window. Like money talks, and it is literally the Premier League that's talking at the moment. So, yeah, thoughts?
Yeah, I had him in my list. I had him as one of the joining the top European team. A couple of information to add to what you were saying. Although it says 2023, his contract is until 2027. What happened was he's on loan to Paris until 2023, and then he signed until 2027. What the clubs that are interested, Newcastle are interested in getting him because they missed out on him last year when they thought they could get him. But Juventus, Milan have already sort of said that they could be interested. Napoli could be in the mix if they lose Osimhen. Basically, any team who's going to lose a striker, I think would go for him. I had him in my list because I think that he's going to get more minutes and he's only worth €20 right now. If I have to say something though, I do think that this is an overrated player that just
Yeah,
had a great 10, 15 games and that is sort of like surfing on that wave right now. So when he's going to move, his price is going to increase straight away, both on Sorare and maybe in real life. But I don't know that he's going to be the player who comes in, scores 25 goals that season. I think he's going to be the player who's going to have his price skyrocketing when he changes club and then maybe dropping again. So I think there's a bit of a move to do there. But yeah, I had him in mind as well.
that is a huge prediction. I haven't heard anyone call him overrated before, so we'll come back to this in the summer because we will be reviewing these videos. But yeah, love it. Thanks for helping me out with more information because, like I said, it didn't make sense that he has his contract ending after just signing. And it's me now, right? Because Hugo was my player,
Mm-hmm.
so I want to know who's going to the Bundesliga or who's staying at the same club.
We're talking about Kevin Volland, and I picked Kevin Volland because he was such a great scorer of Sorare in the season 21-22, and then this year he just had so many injuries. A couple of things there. He came to Monaco because Paul Mitchell got him there, and Mitchell came from the Red Bull system, and then got Volland because he liked him. But then this year, Ben Yedder is scoring as well as he's always been, and Brel Mbolo has really doing well with Monaco, and Volland kept being injured. This summer, Ben Yedder, Voland, Disasi, Fofana, a few players from Monaco will be offloaded somehow because all of them have their contract expiring in 2024. So if they want to make money off Voland, they have to sell him now. And because of Brel and Bolo becoming this good and the young players coming out of Monaco, I wouldn't be surprised if they sell him. If they don't sell him, you got to hope that his injuries are going to stop. And when his injuries stop, the guy just scores. If you look at his decisive scores, he gets a decisive every other game. So he's very good wherever he plays. I think it go, but if he doesn't go, it stay. Again, right now his limited price is €6, so you're not taking much risk if you get him in.
Yeah, I think €6, 30 years old. Oh, he's even cheaper now. I think he's gone down to
He's
last set.
injured. I think he got injured for like the end of the season, maybe. So
Yeah,
maybe that's why he got even cheaper now.
like £2 or £3 I'm looking at
Yeah.
here. Played as a sub for the last game. Historical scores are large. Yeah, I think this is a player you could pick up and hope he moves back to Germany, or like you said, more minutes. Another great selection, I'd say. On to mine, I guess.
Yeah, on to yours. Well, we go for the Roma. Maybe that's the one that we both got. So who's going to Roma?
So, being a supporter of Roma, it's my Italian team, right? I see all the news. I've got a stack of Roma, so I keep involved with it. I knew this guy was going to move on. I had him down as Newcastle because that's where he's been linked for ages, but they're probably going to spend a little bit more. It is Hassan Aouar of Lyon, I believe it is. So, yeah, a really talented player that just seems a little bit out the mix. And the fact you're nodding your head, I'm just going to pass over and you tell us more information.
Yeah, I had him as well, Hussein Mawar, in that as linked to Roma, of course, because the last week it's almost been confirmed that it's likely where he's ending. Again, a player who's so young, yet he's played for so many seasons with Lyon because he came out early, amazing in that 2020 Champions League that was played in Portugal, and since that has been up and down. Now under Laurent Blanc, he's getting a bit more minutes. He just also has accepted to play with the Algerian national team. So here and there, it might give us some extra scarcity, some extra activity. Sorry, but yeah, linked with Roma, and he's a player that when he's going to get minute, he's going to score well. He's worth not much right now because he's not seeing a lot of ball at Lyon, but he's a player that when he plays, touch a lot of ball, huge ability to make assists, always drives the ball into the box. Yeah, a player that you don't really want to miss if he gets back to the level that he's supposed to get. 24 years old, he's a child.
Yeah, that's great. His contract's expiring this summer. £7.50 limit that I have him at. I think if you have him, Pellegrini, and Dybala leading the line for Roma, I think it solves a lot of their chance creation issues, which I think they're having this year. I think that's a no brainer, really.
That,
So
that, that means all my players have taken because there's two of them that we picked together. So now I need to hear from you who's going to Mönchengladbach, who I wanted to keep for last because I thought it was the interesting one out of there.
it is the most interesting one. It's probably the French player I know the most about, Moussa Dembele, ex-Celtic, of course, like absolutely fantastic player, contract ending in 2023. Now, he gives me headaches because he never seems to move for more minutes. Atletico Madrid doesn't get played. Leon not getting played. Surely this man wants to come in and get some good football under his belt. He's got so much potential to be that top tier. Like I genuinely believe I think he could be in the French team if he had like made better moves in his career. It's not over yet. He's about 26, 27. Step in, Dembele, and get yourself to Germany. You've done France, you've done the UK, you've done Spain. Germany's next up, and I thought Gladbach, they're getting rid of their striker. Who is it now? Trying to
Thuram.
remember. Yeah, Thuram, French, going to probably move on, maybe to Munich, something like that. So I thought they're going to be missing a striker. It's a perfect option. I haven't seen any links online about it, but that is my punt.
I couldn't agree more. When he plays, he scores. He's really strong, and I think if he does go to Germany, it's also probably a league that is going to work well for him in the way he plays football. He's deceptively quick, deceptively talented. He can score in any position. He really really hurt me last year against Marseille. So he's a player that I know how good he is because I took it personally. But yeah, you're right. I don't know why he doesn't get minutes. There's word of his off the field issues, but when he does get minutes, he scores. So yeah, good call, good call. And you had the last one, right, Alex, for a top French team. Who do we get going to a top French
Oh
team
yeah,
in
I
your
have another
five?
one. Yeah, so this is lower end of possible, but contract ending soon. I think he's got probably a chance of being a good player that hasn't done too great this season. So maybe people pick up a bargain. Might have to pass over to you because I think he's just going to step up because it's from Nantes, who I don't think of having the best of seasons. I think people are going to get, the top talents there are going to move on because of how bad the season is. You can pick up the limited for £2, so a great punt for newcomers, maybe. Not financial advice, just my opinion. Moses Simon, thoughts?
Yes, yeah, completely agree. Last year and the year before, twice in a row, he was linked a lot to English clubs. He is such a talented. He's Nigerian international. Has brought a lot in his first couple of seasons in Nantes, and then somehow dropped a little bit. But you can still see that he has the explosivity and the talent. He's worth nothing. I had his card rare when I first started playing in 2021. I bought his card rare straight away, and the price tripled by the time we got to the end of summer, and that's when I sold him. And then his card has just dipped since this season only because they've been struggling. But there's a French Cup final coming soon, and Nantes is playing it, and just a good result from him, and the price might get a bit of a bump. So getting him now is probably a good idea. Yeah, that's a good call, Alex. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Like last 15 of 33, last 5 of 28, everyone looks at this player and just thinks, I'm not going to touch it. And yeah, maybe that's the exact time you should be touching it. Some good fixtures coming up against Troyes, Auxerre, Brest, Strasbourg, Toulouse, Montpellier. Like that could be a huge run for the cap division. If he doesn't have a huge run there, you can get maybe a transfer, somewhere to a better team where he will score. Like I've said, I've seen so many people speak so highly about him. His scores don't reflect it at the minute, but they might do soon. So yeah, I think that is honestly such a good list. Like we seem to agree on pretty much all the players. Like you can bring such huge knowledge to the table, which I really thank you for.
Appreciate it.
I think that's pretty much it for the video then. So yeah, definitely check out everything Jeremy's doing. He's a really nice guy as well as just having the most football knowledge you'll see. Anything to say, Jeremy?
No, thanks for having me, Alex. Subscribe, like the video, and subscribe to Alex's channel. The content is mint as usual. And yeah, I think it'll be interesting to come back to that video at the end of summer to see how far we felt. But very good choices.
Thank you. Right, all the best to you. Subscribe. Cheers. Bye.